Welcome to the Indian Express. The winter session of the Parliament came to a close today, with this session being perhaps the least productive of all the sessions that have happened under the Narendra Modi government. I have with me my colleague Pradeep Kaushal, who's been tracking Parliament for us. Pradeep ji, is this the least productive session in this government so far in terms of business transactions?
No, I guess the monsoon session could be even worse.
Okay.
But during this session, the Lok Sabha, it did witness its own share of slogan shouting in the well. The question hour was sought to be disturbed by opposition members. But there was a lot of business which was conducted normally.
Okay.
Throughout the day also. So the Lok Sabha productivity was more than 100%, a little more than that. It wasn't so in the case of the Rajya Sabha, which had its efficiency only at 46%.
Okay.
Which means only 46% of the time earmarked for the Rajya Sabha could be utilized. But when it comes to the legislative business, as you must have known, the Lok Sabha passed a total of 14 bills.
Okay.
And 9 bills were new, which were introduced. 8 of them were passed.
Okay.
The Rajya Sabha passed, both houses passed 9 bills.
Okay.
So obviously the Rajya Sabha passed 9 bills, but most of these bills were passed without discussions. So that's the most unfortunate part. And the Rajya Sabha passed all these bills only in the last 3 days of the session.
Including the juvenile justice
Yes,
bill.
yes. So the business, whatever little it could conduct, was only during the last 3 days.
And as we have seen, because of whatever transpired in both the houses and between the government and the opposition, a crucial legislation like GST could not be taken up at all. Passing these bills, which they eventually ended up passing, does it of much consequence, since they could not, tackle an important and pressing legislation like the GST?
See, the GST, I would say the current atmosphere was not really conducive to the passage of the GST bill, because for the GST bill to get past the Rajya Sabha, you require the Congress support, which is very vital. Currently, the relationship between the ruling party and the main opposition party is not at a level at which they can really get together and pass such a crucial bill. So one only hopes that maybe by the next session the things would change and the government is able to take the Congress along and pass it.
Also, the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, Hamid Ansari, and Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan, both had a few words to say about these constant disruptions and the time lost. And Ansari, I believe, has used some very, harsh words to describe what has happened. What do you make of that?
I won't say harsh, but yes, he was very forthright. He was very candid. And he told people that just 3 weeks ago, all of you got together to celebrate the Constitution Day. You enunciated your commitment to the Constitution, and then you abide by it only in defiance, only in violation. So he, of course, was very, very forthright in bringing this to their attention. The Lok Sabha Speaker was not as forthright. Now, maybe because she was herself on a back foot, because she had to retract from her own remark.
Yeah, tell us more about that. I mean, I believe it's very rare for a speaker to expunge something which she herself had said. What was that all about?
Well, the Congress guys were protesting in the well, and there was some reference to national interest. Mr. Panda, Bajikant Panda, we know him better as Jay Panda. He was referring to some issue, and then the speaker spontaneously responded by saying that the Congress guys who were protesting in the well, that what they were doing was not in national interest, it was in personal interest.
Vested interest.
Vested interest, she
that
said.
Was the word.
Yeah. So when she used this expression, the Congress was obviously offended. Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress floor leader, got up in the House today and said, this has hurt us. But it was gracious of the speaker to not just acknowledge that, well, she shouldn't have said this. She withdrew her remark by expunging it from the records, and she also expressed her sorry over it, her regret over this. So that ended the matter.
But you think this would have put her slightly on the back foot? This
Of
kind
course. So this was one reason why she might have been on the back foot, not in the kind of form which is required when you want to admonish people.
Absolutely.
Secondly, because she had been sort of making her feelings known to people all through the session. So she probably thought that maybe this last minute punch was not needed.
So now the next session would be the budget session. Do you think things would look up by the time the budget session arrives?
Well, one can only hope so, though I'm not very optimistic. But what is important is that in the meanwhile, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, he has floated another idea during his session and press conference. He said that the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha are sadly pulling in different directions. While Lok Sabha is promptly passing legislations, the Rajya Sabha is not doing so. He said, though in the Lok Sabha, the main opposition party is inflicting what he called the minority tyranny by not allowing question hour to progress smoothly, the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha was witnessing something which was very undemocratic. Here is a government which has people's mandate.
Sure.
It has made certain promises to people, but it's not being allowed to fulfill those promises.
Right.
So he has called for a debate on this issue. The Lok Sabha going in one direction, the Rajya Sabha going in another direction. So he says that people feel that Rajya Sabha, he said people feel. He didn't moot this idea as his own proposal, but well, he said people feel that the Rajya Sabha rule needs being redefined. Now that's a very loaded remark. So let us see whether this idea progresses and the government does something, takes some initiative to well redefine this role of the Rajya Sabha vis-a-vis the Lok Sabha. So I think we should all be anxiously watching all this.
So loads to look out for by the time the next session begins in Parliament.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much, Pradeep ji, for the for this perspective and your observations. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.